we're on our way. Yeah. Israel is going to be saved.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
And all we gotta do is watch and pray.
Just watch and pray now. Just watch and pray now.
And one day we will all be saved.
All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
Israel is going to be
We
saved.
on our way now. We on our way now.
And all we gotta do is watch and pray.
Just watch and pray now. Just watch and pray now.
Keep the laws and hold on to our faith. To Judgment Day, we're on our way.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
Israel is going to be
We on
saved.
our way now. We on our way now.
And all we gotta do is watch and pray.
Just watch and pray now. Just watch and pray now.
Keep the laws and hold on to our faith. And one day we will all be saved.
All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya. All praise a higher in the name of Yeshaya.
You want me to say it? I'll say it loud. See.
You got the sound on too?
We're about to start in a few minutes, everybody. Everybody get seated. Wait till they get. First, we're gonna start off with a prayer. Wait till every. Right? No, I was waiting until y'all finish fixing it. It's good? All right. Everybody, we're live right now. Give the Most High your undivided attention. How's everybody doing? Blessed? Sleepy? All right, it's time to wake up. It's the Sabbath. This is the only time in the week we get to praise the Most High.
Yeah.
Well, we can praise him every day, but this is the most important time. So, exactly. So, first we're going to start off with the prayer. We're going to say the credo. For those who don't know it, just try to say it along. And then we're going to say the Our Father. Everybody just stand up, rise, and face the east. Everybody just repeat after me. Everybody ready? All right. Shemai, Yasharala, Ahaya, Alahayanawa, Ahaya, Akkad, Shemai, Yasharala, Ahaya, Alahayanawa, Ahaya, Akkad. Hear, O Israel, our God is one. Our Father, who art in heaven, Ahaya be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. All right, amen. All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. To everybody in the room and those that are online, Shabbat Shalom, and I want to give all praises to the Most High Ahaya in the name of his son Yeshaya and the Holy Spirit. And before we start off the lesson, the main attraction that we're here for, we're going to go into the law, and each brother is going to come up and read 5 verses out of the law and out of Deuteronomy 27. Matter of fact, 3 verses. All right, so when everybody's at Deuteronomy 27, just say Khan. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses, with the elders of Israel, commanded the people. Oh, wait. Also, when we in the verses, you're going to see that they're going to be talking to the congregation. And then at the end of each verses, they're going to say Aman. So when they say Aman, I want everybody to say Aman, because Aman means in the Hebrew to be so be it, or mean to agree. So if you guys agree, say Aman. All right, everybody got that? All right. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I commanded you this day. Verse 2. And it shall be on the day when ye shall pass over Jordan unto the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee, that thou shalt set thee up great stones and plaster them with plaster. Verse 3. And thou shalt write upon them all the words of this law. When thou art passed over, that thou mayest go in unto the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. A land floweth with milk and honey, as the Most High power of thy fathers hath promised thee.
Deuteronomy 27. Come up.
Just leave it. Leave your book.
I'll just leave mine. Deuteronomy 27 and 4. Therefore it shall be, when ye be gone over Jordan, that ye shall set up these stones, which I command you this day, in Mount Ebal, and thou shalt plaster them with plaster. Verse 5. And there shalt thou build an altar unto the Lord your power, an altar of stones. Thou shalt not lift up any iron tool upon them. Verse 6. Thou shalt build the altar of the Lord thy power of whole stones, and thou shalt offer burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord thy power.
Deuteronomy 27, verse 7. And thou shalt offer peace offerings, and shalt eat there, and rejoice before the Most High thy power. Thou shalt write upon the stones all the words of this law very plainly. And Moses and the priests, the Levites, shall spake unto all Israel, saying, take heed and hearken. O Israel, this day thou art become the people of the Most High thy power.
Verse 10. Thou shalt therefore obey the voice of the Lord thy power, do his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. And Moses charged the people the same day, saying, These shall stand upon the Mount Gerizim to bless the people, when ye are come over Jordan, Simeon and Levi and Judah and Issachar and Joseph and Benjamin.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Verse 11. And Moses charged the people the same day, 13. And these shall stand upon Mount Ebal to curse Reuben, Gad, and Asher, and Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali. Verse 14. And the Levites shall speak and say unto all the men of Israel with a loud voice, Cursed be the man that maketh any graven or molten image, an abomination unto the Most High, the work of the hands of the craftsman, and putteth it in a secret place. And all the people shall answer and say, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Verse 16. Cursed be he that setteth light by his father or his mother, and all the people shall say Amen.
Amen.
Verse 17. Cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark, and all the people shall say Amen.
Amen.
Verse 18.
Cursed be he that maketh the blind to wander out of the way, and all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen. Nineteen.
Oh, he left it here.
Yeah.
Verse 20. Cursed, 19? Sorry. Salakia. Verse 19. Cursed be he that perverted the judgment of the stranger, fatherless, and widow. And all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Cursed be he that lieth with his father's wife, because he uncovered his father's skirt. And all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Cursed be he that lieth with any manner of beast, and all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Verse 22. Cursed be he that lieth with his sister, the daughter of his father, or the daughter of his mother, and all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Cursed be he that lieth with his mother-in-law, and all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Cursed be he that smiteth his neighbor secretly, and all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Cursed be he that taketh reward to slay an innocent person, and all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Cursed be he that confirmeth not all the words of this law to do them, and all the people shall say, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All praises to the Most High.
Give the Most High a round. Give the Most High a round. All praises to the Most High. And once again, I'd like to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody in the room. How's everybody doing? Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers and sisters online. Yeah.
It's on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'd like to give all praises to the Most High, Ahaya, Bahashim Yeshua Wakadash. What I just said is the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in the ancient Hebrew tongue. Right? If you guys could already see the title of today's lessons, but for those of you guys in the room who don't see it, we know today is the first Sabbath of this month. So we're going to go into the law. And today's title of the law that we're going to go into is marriage. We're going to go into the law of marriage, right? We're going to go into the institution of marriage, how it was instituted, how it was brought about, and the do's and don'ts. Khan?
Khan.
All right. So, hold on. I think I might take this thing off because it's making my book slide. But, all right. The first scripture I want to go into, just hold your scriptures there in 1 Corinthians 6. We're going to go there. We're going to start there first. All right? And the reason why I felt like we should go into the law concerning marriage is because, we live in a time where everybody's making their own definition concerning marriage, right? But we got to go according to the Most High to see, how was it biblically, instituted and what was the purpose of marriage, right? So we're going to start at 1 Corinthians 6 and 9 and read it down to verse 11. We're going to start there.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1.
Mm-hmm. No, 6, verse 9. Verse
6,
9.
verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High?
So it says here, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom, right? Go ahead.
Be not deceived.
Be not deceived.
Neither fornicators.
Neither fornicators.
Nor idolaters. Nor adulterers. Nor effeminate.
Nor effeminate.
Nor abusers of themselves with mankind.
Nor abusers of themselves with mankind. So these are the first, type of sins that Paul was speaking about when he says that these people will not inherit the kingdom. But when you have marriage now, these things can't take place. We're gonna prove that to you. But go ahead. What verse you at?
Verse 10. Nor thieves.
Nor thieves.
Nor covetous.
Yeah.
Nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Verse 11. And such were some of you.
And such was some of us. Go ahead.
But ye are washed.
But we are now washed, right?
But ye are sanctified. But ye are justified in the name of the Lord Yeshua, and by the Spirit of our God, Ahaya.
Amen.
Come on.
So basically, we have to understand this key concept because why? We're all trying to make it where? To the kingdom, right? So if these things will not inherit the kingdom, right? I wanted to investigate this, the law of marriage, which would actually help us or prevent us from these perverse acts, right? So now everybody, like I said in the beginning, everybody has their own opinion concerning marriage, right? Now, what's the latest hot topic concerning marriage in here in America? Anybody? Say it. Same-sex marriage, right? So now I want to go into the opinions of people, right? First, starting with the opinion of Paul, right? Because even Paul had an opinion on this matter, right? Let's go to still in 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter now. 7th chapter, verse 6. I want to look at Paul's opinion concerning marriage, because if you leave it up to America to teach how marriage is supposed to be instituted, you could be married with another. A man could be married with a man. A woman could be married with a woman, right? There's even certain states where people can marry their animals. I don't know if too many of you guys even knew about that. You could actually be. I remember you were showing me that article, Ayan. A lady in the United States, here in America, married a train station. So it's like they're just making a mockery of what the Most High actually instituted, which was what? Male and female, right? So now let's go into the ideologies of Paul. Let's see what he says. 1 Corinthians 7 and 6.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 6. But I speak this by permission and not of commandment.
So he said, I speak this by what?
By permission.
By permission.
And not of commandment.
And not of commandment, meaning he's just speaking his own thoughts. So what he's saying right now is not a commandment. All right? I want you guys to get that clear. What Paul is about to say right now is not a commandment. It's his own free thought. Because he can't go against the commandment. The Most High created man and woman to do what? Be fruitful and multiply under marriage. But go ahead.
Verse 7.
Yeah.
For I would that all men were even as myself, I myself.
So he was saying that he would wish that all men could be as how he was, because he made himself a eunuch. Basically, he chose not to marry. Right? Go ahead.
But every man hath his proper gift of the Most High.
Go ahead.
One after this manner, and another after that.
Mm-hmm.
I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I.
So he was commending those who were widows and who were unmarried, because he said that it would be good if they would remain unmarried, the way he was unmarried. But there was a reason why Paul was saying that, because why? Paul was a missionary. Paul didn't have time for a wife because he was basically doing the work of the Most High. And mind you, Paul is speaking from his own personal understanding, right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. But if they cannot contain.
So now he's speaking if those who are trying to be unmarried, but they can't contain themselves. We all know what he means when he says can't contain, right? Go ahead.
Let them marry.
Let them marry. Go ahead.
For it is better to marry than to burn.
Because it is better to marry than to burn. Meaning, why put yourself through the suffering of remaining unmarried, and you have these lustful desires for your significant other or for somebody else, right? Continue. Verse you at?
Verse 10.
Yeah.
And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Most High. Let not the wife depart from her husband.
So now he was saying that this is not his commandment, but this is the Most High's commandment. Now this is also talking about when it goes to divorce. But we're going to come back to that. I didn't want to get into that scripture yet. I want to go now into the institution of marriage. How was marriage brought about? Because we see Paul's opinion was what? He would rather that everybody remain unmarried, right? When we understand that everybody's opinion in America, or the government's opinion, is that anybody can marry who they want, what they want, and how they want. So now we got to go into what the Most High said on how he instituted how marriage was supposed to come about. Now let's go back. Let's go to the book of Genesis to get the beginning origin, or to find the beginning origin of what we call marriage, right? And by the end of this lesson, no one should be left confused as to what they see going on in the world. Because what we see going on in the world is completely different from what we believe, Khan. Right? So we in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, verse 20. Listen clearly. The institution of marriage. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 20.
Yeah.
And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him.
So Adam couldn't find a helpmeet. So everybody had a pair, or all the animals had a pair, but he was the only one without a pair. He was the only one who didn't have somebody he could relate to. Basically, go ahead.
21. And the Most High caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof.
Go ahead.
And the rib which the Most High had taken from man made he a woman.
So out of that, the Most High made and created the woman, right? Because why? He didn't have a helpmeet. He couldn't find a proper companion. All of the animals that he was naming had proper companions, but he did not have a proper companion. So now, as we can see, we could already start to distinguish the difference between how the world is doing it and how the Most High instituted. Now people are finding companions with whatever they want to find a companion, whether it be an animal, whether it be the same sex, whether it be an inanimate object. The Most High created a separate person who to complement Adam, right? Go ahead. Which was a woman. Go ahead.
The Most High had taken from man and made he a woman.
And made he a woman. So we can see what the Most High's mind was gearing towards when he made the woman, instituting marriage, institution of marriage. But go ahead.
And brought her unto the man.
And brought her to the man. Go ahead.
23. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones.
So Adam looked at Eve and said, this is now bone of my bone.
And flesh of my flesh.
And flesh of my flesh. Go ahead.
She shall be called woman.
She shall be called woman. Go ahead.
Because she was taken out of man.
Go ahead.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother.
So now here is the institution part. Now this is the first, we could say this is the first biblical marriage, or the first marriage of all times, right? Adam said, therefore shall what?
Shall a man leave his father and his mother.
So a man, when he find his wife, shall leave his father and mother and do what?
And shall cleave unto his wife.
And shall what?
And shall cleave unto his wife.
And shall cleave unto his wife. Now that is the proper steps of marriage in the beginning, but we're going to go through all the steps, right? Go ahead. What verse you at?
Verse 23.
Yeah.
No, verse 24 at the end. And they shall be one flesh.
And they shall no longer be two people, but one flesh, meaning they operate as a unit. Khan?
Khan.
Go ahead.
25. And they were both naked, the man and his wife.
You see that? So they were both naked, the man and his wife.
And were not ashamed.
And not ashamed. So when you're married, husbands, don't be ashamed of your body, and wives, don't be ashamed of your body. It's y'all both one flesh, right? So we can see that was the institution of marriage, right? So now, like, I want to say this, anything outside of what we just read here is actually considered sin or an abomination. Matter of fact, let's read that real quick. I just want to get all the examples out of there, so that way we don't leave no room for imagination after this lesson. Leviticus 18 and 22. Listen to this clearly. Like we just read. We just read that the Most High created for Adam a what? A helpmeet, which was what? A woman. He didn't create another man. He created a woman. And with that woman, right, Adam then took her as his wife. And he instituted what we know today as what? Marriage. A man would leave his mother and father and be joined with his wife. Now read Leviticus 18 and 22, please.
Leviticus 18 and 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind.
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt not lie with mankind.
Thou shalt not lie with mankind.
As with womankind.
As with womankind. We all know what that means, right? As you can see today, the whole institution of marriage is like they're trying to actually slap the Most High in his face. Because it's proven that they have no respect for the Most High. Because why? Without a mother and father, they wouldn't be here. So now to institute something outside of this is to show your blatant disrespect to the Most High. So the Most High already, he's not a God of confusion. And I wish I had downloaded that video to play for you guys. I don't know if any of you guys in this room seen the video of T.D. Jakes. He was being interviewed, and he was asked a question by the person that he was being interviewed by. And the question was, do you think that God accepts the homosexuals now? And then before the guy could even complete the question, he said, oh, absolutely. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And that goes to show that there's been a big play or big, agenda to try to take out the words of the Most High when it comes to marriage and institute what they feel is marriage, because everything is upside down. No one is following the Most High. So we got to bring out this truth so that way we could get our brothers and sisters, in tune with what's going on. Right?
Right.
So we see here that was the institution of marriage. Right? It wasn't man and man. It wasn't woman and woman. It wasn't man with beasts. It wasn't women with beasts. It was man and woman. Right? So now I want to go and we're going to read the second, what I like to call the second, that's noted in the scriptures, description of the second marriage that I like to read all the time with Isaac and Rebekah. And it's a beautiful story if you guys never read it, but we're going to read it briefly with you guys to show the second institution of marriage, or I would like to say, just the way it was instituted, so that we could get like a feel or the examples of moving forward on how we do things moving forward when it comes to marriage. So still in the book of Genesis, right? No, you was in Leviticus. Genesis 24, real quick. And start at verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 24, verse 1.
And mind you, and this is when our father Isaac was going to get a wife, or when his father Abraham sent his servant to go get him a wife for his son Isaac, right? So now we're going to read and see how this was set up, how the marriage was set up back then. And we can compare it to today. Is marriage being set up the same way today, or is it not? I just want you guys' feedback, but let's start there.
Genesis 24 and 1.
Yeah.
And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Most High had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had put, I pray thee thy hand under my thigh. Verse 3. And I will make thee swear by the Most High, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell.
And Abraham was very strict and was very serious when it came to finding a wife for his son Isaac. He said, "Don't go over by the woman of the daughters of Canaan to find me a wife." Because why? We know that Canaan was what? Her seed. And he understood that, Abraham understood that what? That in order for the promise to be continued, it had to come from the righteous seed, right? So continue.
Verse 4. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure, the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? Verse 6. And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou that thou bring not my son thither again.
Go ahead.
Verse 7. But the most high power of heaven, which took me from my father's house, and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that swear unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. Verse 8. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and sware to him concerning that matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed. For all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia unto the city of Nahor.
And with verse 10, I want you guys to keep that in mind and remember that. It said that Abraham's servant took all of Abraham's goods with him on this journey. And you're going to see why he did that as the lesson goes on. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 11. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. Verse 12. And he said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. 14. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink. And I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac. And thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master.
So that's how he was going to know the wife of Isaac. That was going to be the sign. The one who listened or took heed to his words, that was going to be the one that the Most High chose for Isaac, or who Abraham would find worthy to be the wife of his son. Go ahead.
15. And it came to pass before he had done speaking, that behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon.
And you see that it said that the damsel was very fair to look upon. So you could imagine when Abraham's servant seen him, like, yo, that got to be her, because I don't see no other sister fair like her. So, right, she was fair to look upon. Go ahead.
A virgin, neither had any man known her.
And neither had any man known her. So she was very respectable. She understood chastity, right? So these are certain qualities that they were looking for in a wife, right? Go ahead.
And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up.
Yeah.
17. And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord.
So look at that, with no hesitation. Very humble, very respectable. Drink, here, take it. Go ahead.
And she hasted and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking.
And look at that. She even had the spirit of helping. Like, not only did she want to just give the servant the water, she said, let me water your camels as well too. Went out her way to do it. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels.
Go ahead.
Verse 21. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of 1/2 shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold. 23. And said, whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee. Is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. And she said moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in.
So she was opening the house for them to come and lodge, right? So as the story goes on, right, he then, the servant of Noah then meets her brother and her mother. And now he's telling them the story of what sent him there, right? And how they were able to get there. Jump down to verse 51, right? Just to get to the meat of it.
Verse 51. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as the Most High has spoken.
So after he explained the reason of him being there, they was with it. They was like, you know what? We believe that the Most High sent you, to come and take Rebekah. Do what you want with her, right? Take her to be Isaac's wife. Go ahead.
52.
Yeah.
And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things.
So now these, for those of you guys who are just reading this and don't really understand what's going on, remember when I told you guys to keep in mind that when the servant left Abraham, he left with Abraham's goods. This is what we call dowry, the dowry, right? The exchanging of gifts when it comes to marriage. I'm going to get the definition for you a little later, but continue reading.
54.
Yeah.
And they did eat and drink.
And they did eat and drink. Go ahead.
He and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, Let the damsel abide with us a few days, at least 10. After that she shall go. And he said unto them, Hinder me not, seeing the Lord hath prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. 57. And they said, We will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go.
And it was just as Abraham said it should be. If you guys remember in the beginning of the chapter, he told the servant, if she is willing to go with you, then bring her back. But if she's not willing to go, leave her there and you will be free from this oath. But as it was, she was obedient. And this is the one that Abraham sent to go receive for Isaac. Go ahead.
Verse 60. No, verse 59. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. Verse 60. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, Thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions. And let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them.
So you see, before they sent her off with a blessing. So that means Isaac actually received the blessing to take her as a wife because the family accepted it, right? We see that, right? Go ahead.
61. And Rebekah arose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the men. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way. 62. And Isaac came from the way of the well Lahori, for he dwelt in the south country.
So now Isaac was on his way to meet them while they was coming up, right? Because they was going to go and present Rebekah to Isaac, right? They was going to meet for the very first time. Like, this is how marriages was done back then, right? Go ahead. You could kind of say it was sort of arranged, right? But you're going to get the gist of it. Continue reading.
63. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide.
So now you can imagine Isaac was kind of probably nervous. He's about to meet his wife for the first time. He's out in the forest, he's out in the wilderness meditating, like, yo, what am I gonna say? Am I gonna say shalom, or am I gonna say, what am I gonna say to her? Right? Go ahead. So he's nervous. Go ahead.
And he lifted up his eyes.
So he lifted up his eyes and go ahead.
And saw, and behold, the camels were coming.
So he's seen them coming. So you could imagine his heart was racing. Like, I'm about to meet my wife for the first time. And like every time I read this, I like to put myself in that situation. Like, imagine like how they was feeling at that time, right? So he's looking up the road and he see them coming, right? Go ahead.
64.
Yeah.
And Rebekah lifted up her eyes.
And then now she lifted up her eyes. It sounds like it was some love story movie right now. Now she's looking up, and now listen to this.
And when she saw Isaac,
now, and then what happened?
She lighted off the camel.
She jumped off the camel and was like, what? What she said?
For she had said unto the servant,
yeah,
what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us?
So now when she seen Isaac, so you could basically say it was like love at first sight. So when first Isaac seen her, then he was like, all right, she's coming. Then Rebekah seen her, so she jumped off the camel and was like, yo, what man, what brother is this? You guys see this brother? Who is this? Now read what they said.
And the servant had said,
yeah,
it is my master.
It is my master. Go ahead.
Therefore she took a veil and covered herself.
And look what she did. And now you guys could kind of understand where they get the, when you guys go to weddings and they got the veil over the woman's head. Like, you guys ever been to weddings? Yes. So like when she seen Isaac coming, she took a veil and covered her face. Right? To not to reveal herself until the consummation, the marriage. That's how they used to do it back then. Go ahead. So read that part again.
65.
Yeah.
Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. 66.
She covered herself.
And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done.
Yeah.
And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent.
So now Isaac brought her into his mother's Sarah's tent. Go ahead.
And took Rebekah.
And took Rebekah.
And she became his wife.
And she became his wife. So that's how it was done before. It had to be a mutual exchange. The parents had to, had to agree and send the blessing. They had to pay the dowry. Remember I told you about the dowry. Abraham's servant sent the dowry with him, and then when she came, they went into the tent and they did what? They consummated the marriage. You see that? That's how simple it was. No one had to take out a loan. No one had to rent out a venue and have 100,000 people come and celebrate. That's how simple it was. That's how simple marriage was. Man and woman just exchanging gifts, getting the blessings from the family, and that was the union, right? Read the rest of that. Read verse 67 again.
Verse 67.
Yeah.
And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent.
Yeah.
And took Rebekah. And she became his wife, and he loved her.
And she became his wife, and he loved her. You see that? Go ahead.
And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So we see that was like, I would say, the second description of marriage we could probably talk about in the scriptures, well, Old Testament, right? So now let's investigate how marriage was done after they came out the land of Egypt. Because mind you, this is before we went into the land of Egypt. This is before the children of Israel were slaves. We was free in our own land under, with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the land of Canaan, right? So we went into Egypt and we lost our customs. We lost our ways. So now after coming out of Egypt, we had to what? Remember the laws again. The Most High had to give us the laws, especially the laws concerning marriage, right? Go to Exodus 22. And remember I told you guys about the dowry, right? Let's go to Exodus 22 and 16. So we could say from what Adam instituted and what we seen our forefathers Isaac and Jacob and Abraham was instituting in the land, we could say that this is the way it was done back then. So now we had to go into the law to see what else had to be instituted. It had to be a reminder of these are the things that you need to do when it concerns marriage, right? I wanted to bring this one out first in Exodus 22 and 16 concerning, when a young man sees, a sister that he likes or that he's fond of, right? Go ahead.
Exodus 22 and 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed.
And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed. So basically, if a young man sees a young woman who's not spoken for and he entices her, right? Or he starts to spit game, we could change the wording, right? Go ahead.
And lie with her.
And he does what?
And lie with her.
Lie with her. And we know this happens all the time now, right? Go ahead.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
So back then, you wasn't just gonna take a young lady and sleep with her and not be responsible for her. Because when that action took place, it came with responsibilities. Nowadays, our people don't, I want to say our people, but people in general don't even understand that concept. This is the reason why we have to investigate the origin of marriage, because what we see going on in the world right now with boyfriends and girlfriends, and it's blasphemy with boyfriends and girlfriends and people sleeping around one night stands. That has nothing to do with the Most High. The Most High is not even looking at none of that, right? The Most High got his eyes on marriage. So we see that if a young man entices a maid, right, and he lies with her, he shall what?
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife. So now, when you go into the Hebrew word for the word endow, right? And if you guys have your Strong's Concordance, is H4117, right? And it says, through the idea of readiness in assent. to bargain for a wife. That is to wed. Meaning, if you have enough, if you have enough strength and you have enough, brute, I would say, to to just see a young lady, right? Spit game to her, and then now you use her for what you want to use her for, and you think you could throw her away? No, you have to actually endow her. You have to take her in as your wife now. That was back then. That's how they did it back then. It was very serious in the culture, right? You wasn't just gonna be sleeping around and having babies and you calling him your baby father now. You understand? So now you had to endow her to be your wife. You had to bargain for her now, right? You had to go speak to her dad, right? Because there was a lot of accountability when it came to the young woman. The young man always had to go speak to the father first before you can speak to the young lady. And that's how it's supposed to be done. And if this was instituted amongst our people, we will see that there will be less drama when it comes to relationships, right? It will be way more smarter. But continue.
Verse 17.
Yeah.
If her father utterly refused to give her to him.
So now it says, if her father utterly refuses now to give her to the man. He see the young man, now he's examining him, like, all right, you like my daughter, okay. What do you have to offer my daughter? What are you bargaining with? Do you have any land? Do you have a job? Where's the dowry? Do you have any gifts for her? And I want you guys to understand this. The reason behind the dowry and giving of gifts, that showed the father that the man is coming from a wealthy background. The man is coming from a situation that he has enough to give. So now in the father's mind, when he receives the dowry now, he could be like, okay, I know that if I send my daughter away with him, right? She's in good case because look at all of the gifts that they bring in me. You see that? Mm-hmm. So now continue reading.
If her father utterly refused to give her unto him.
So now if the father refuses and be like, nah, you don't really have nothing to offer my daughter, what happens now?
He shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins.
So he shall pay the dowry according to the dowry of virgins. Meaning even if you had nothing, you have to find a way to pay this man for what you've done to his daughter. And now that's righteous accountability now. You're not gonna just come in and take my daughter and do what you feel like you could do with her and have no responsibilities for that. So that was how it was instituted in the law, right? So now that right there stopped what? All types of what? Fornication, right? So now, matter of fact, I did want to read the definition of dowry too. Just read it real quick. Definition of dowry in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, page 135. Just to get it a little bit more clearer. Page 135. I think I have it highlighted.
The definition of dowry, it says the price paid by the suitor to the parents of the prospective bride.
You see that? That's the price paid from the suitor to the parents of the prospective bride, right?
Also the portion which the bride brought to her husband.
So it was an exchange of gifts. So that's it on that.
Yeah.
And they just give biblical references, right? Mm-hmm. So now we looked at the institution of marriage under Adam. Then we also looked at it through who? Isaac. Now we're gonna look at it, not Jacob. We could have looked at Jacob's, but I wanted to go even a little further. I want to go to the book of Tobit, right? To show you that even in the book of Tobit, right? That's in the Apocrypha, right? That they still kept the customs of marriage and the way it was instituted, with the accountability and holding people accountable for their actions. So now, go to the book of Tobit, chapter 6. I'm going to get a few from each chapter just to show and prove the institution of marriage was something that's very real, and it was taken serious amongst our people. So we're in the book of Tobit, chapter 6, and start at verse 10.
The book of Tobit, chapter 6, verse 10. The angel said to the young man, Brother, today we shall lodge with Rachel. I'll say Raquel. Reguel, who is thy cousin.
Raguel.
He also hath only one daughter named Sarah. I will speak for her, that she may be given thee for a wife.
You see that? So we could say that, marriages back then was more so arranged, right? It was more so arranged, and you could say that they had to be aware of where this person was coming from. They had to actually know this person, right? You wasn't a complete stranger coming out of nowhere, and we're going to show you even through in the book of Tobit that the fathers had to always check out the young man's background and check out their family to make sure that they was coming from a good family. They wasn't just giving their daughters to just random men, right? What verse you at?
Verse 11.
Yeah.
For to thee doeth the right of her appertain, seeing thou only art of her kindred. Verse 12. And the maid is fair and wise. Now therefore hear me, and I will speak to her father. And when we return from rages, we will celebrate the marriage.
We will celebrate the marriage. Go ahead. So along with marriage came what? A celebration, where the families came together, everybody ate and had a good time. Right? Go ahead.
For I know that Raguel cannot marry her to another according to the law of Moses.
According to what?
According to the law of Moses.
So you can see that there was instituting marriage according to what the law said how marriage was supposed to be. Right? Go ahead.
But he shall be guilty of death, because the right of inheritance doeth rather appertain to thee than any other.
So basically what he was saying is that no one could marry her except for you, because that's the way it was set up. Jump to chapter 7 and start at verse 1. So we see that this was the first, this was the arrangement for Tobias to marry who? Sarah. Right? Go ahead.
Chapter over 7 and 1. And when they were come to Ecbatane, they came to the house of Raguel, and Sarah met them. And after they had saluted one another, she brought them into the house. Then said Raguel to Edna his wife, How like is this young man to Tobit my cousin?
So now, as you can see, is they came over to the house, and now they met for the first time, and they greeted each other. So Sarah met Tobias. Now the parents are speaking concerning Tobit now. Tobit is the father of Tobias. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 3. And Raguel asked them, From whence are ye, brethren? To whom they said, We are the sons of Nephthalim.
So this is the tribe of Nephthalim, or Nephthalim speaking right now.
Which are captives in Nineveh. Then he said unto them, Do ye know Tobit our kinsman?
So now the father is doing the background check now. He said, Do you know Tobit? Have you heard about this man? So now, like I said, Tobit is the father of who? Tobias, right? Go ahead.
And they said, We know him.
We know him.
Then said he, Is he in good health?
So now he asks, Is he in good health? Is like, what can you guys say about this guy? Go ahead.
Verse 5. And they said, He is both alive and in good health.
He is both alive and in good health. Go ahead.
And Tobias said, He is my father.
Yeah,
Verse 6.
See, Tobias said, That's my dad now. Go ahead.
Then Raguel leaped up.
So now he was happy. Now the father of Sarah was happy now. He leaped up and did what?
And kissed him.
And greeted him and kissed him. Go ahead.
And wept.
And he wept. And go ahead.
Verse 7. And
tears of joy. Go ahead.
And blessed him.
And he blessed Tobias. Right? Why?
And said unto him, Thou art the son of an honest and good man.
Thou art a son of an honest and just man. So now he understood that now he was going to give his daughter Sarah to Tobias, but he knew that Tobias came from a good house and he had a good upbringing because his father was a good man. So that's how the fathers are actually supposed to check out these young men who are trying to entice their daughters. That's how we did it in the past. And this is how we need to continue doing it. Right? Go ahead. What verse he was at?
The middle of verse 7.
Yeah.
But when he had heard that Tobit was blind, he was sorrowful and wept.
So he was a little upset because he found out that Tobias' dad, Tobit, was blind. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And likewise, Edna his wife, and Sarah his daughter wept. Moreover, they entertained them cheerfully. And after that, they had killed a ram of the flock.
So they killed a ram, or because they're about to get ready to feast, right? Go ahead.
And they set store of meat on the table.
And they set store of meat on the table. Yes, our people was eating meat back then. Yes. Go ahead.
Then said Tobias to Raphael, Brother Azarias, speak of those things of which thou didst talk in the way, and let this business be dispatched. Verse 9. So he communicated the matter with Raguel, and Raguel said to Tobias, Eat and drink and make merry.
So now he feels comfortable with Tobias being in his sight now because he know he come from a good home. He know he's gonna treat his daughter right. So your house, my house is your house now. You about to be in the family now. So have fun. Go ahead.
Verse 10.
That's exactly what's going on right now.
For it is meet that thou shouldest marry my daughter. Nevertheless, I will declare unto thee the truth. I have given my daughter in marriage to 7 men.
So here it goes now. He had to tell Tobit or Tobias the truth concerning his daughter, right? And we're gonna actually read in the law, something to this nature as well too, right? I'm gonna get it for you too. What verse he was at?
11.
Okay, go ahead. So he's telling Tobias the truth about his daughter. He said he did what?
I have given my daughter in marriage to 7 men.
So she's been married to 7 different men. Right? Go ahead.
Who died that night they came in unto her.
But all of them died when they tried to consummate the marriage. And there's a reason behind that. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, for the present to be merry. No, nevertheless, for the present be merry. But Tobias said, I will eat nothing here till we agree and swear one to another.
So now he was a little nervous now. He was like, yo, your daughter been married 7 times, but all of the men died and you want me to marry her. I don't know if I feel too good about this marriage now. Right? So now they had to make an agreement. Go ahead.
Verse 12. Raguel said, Then take her from henceforth according to the manner, for thou art her cousin, and she is thine. And the merciful power give you good success in all things. 13. Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father, and he took her by the hand, and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, Behold, take her after the law of Moses, and lead her away to thy father. And he blessed them.
So he blessed them. So he gave them the blessing. So you see, the father has to give the blessing to give away the daughter, right? Go ahead.
14. And called Edna his wife, and took paper, and did write an instrument of covenants, and sealed it.
So that was the marriage license, right? They had an agreement. They wrote down an agreement. Contract is law, and the law is contract, right? Go ahead.
15. Then they began to eat. After Raguel called his wife Edna, and said unto her, Sister, prepare another chamber, and bring her in thither. 17. Which when she had done as he had bidden her, she brought her thither, and she wept. And she received the tears of her daughter, and said unto her, Be of good comfort, my daughter. The Lord of heaven and earth give thee joy for this thy sorrow. Be of good comfort, my daughter.
So you see, that's how it was done, right? The father would agree, right? They exchanged the gifts of the dowry. He prepared the marriage chamber for them. And Tobias took her to be his wife, right? That's how it was done. Once you had the blessing. So now there's another attribute to marriage that they actually did too. When they actually blessed the marriage themselves as husband and wife, right? Go down to chapter 8. And this is something that we can institute within our marriages.
Chapter 8, verse 1.
Yeah.
And when they had supped, they brought Tobias in unto her. Verse
So
2.
after they ate, everybody's feeling good. So now they brought Tobias into their daughter, right?
And as he went, he remembered the words of Raphael, and took the ashes of the perfumes, and put the heart and the liver of the fish thereupon, and made a smoke therewith. The verse 3. The which smell when the evil spirit had smelled. He fled into the utmost parts of Egypt, and the angel bound him.
All right, so I'm going to explain this part right here, because a lot of people would take this part and say that the book of Tobit is evil. You know, it speaks about witchcraft, and a lot of people don't even understand what's going on here. What happened is the reason why her 7 husbands died was because there was an evil spirit that was attached to her who loved her. And every time the men went in to consummate the marriage, they would die because the evil spirit would attack. A lot of people don't understand how evil spirits work. When you read the Testament of Solomon, right? Certain evil spirits can only be removed by certain acts or certain name callings or certain things. So what the angel told Tobias to do was what that evil spirit would flee from. And that's not witchcraft. That's just how it works. If you don't understand it, you would call it witchcraft, but it's not witchcraft. You would have to actually read extra text to understand this. But that was just a little breakdown of what's going on here. So the heart and the gull from the fish, he had to burn it, and the smoke came out, and it will make the evil spirit flee. And that's how the angel was able to bind that evil spirit. Now, it's not witchcraft. That's just how it was. Go ahead.
So I'll read verse 3 again.
There wasn't calling upon no different gods. There wasn't doing no sacrifices in the name of another god. It was just that. All right. Go ahead.
The which smell, when the evil spirit had smelled it.
Yep.
He fled into the utmost parts of Egypt.
You see that? Certain spirits or certain evil or demon spirits can only be removed by certain acts. And that's deep, and that's another.
And this one was a scent.
And this one was a scent, and that's another higher level of understanding that we probably could go into at a later time. But go ahead.
And the angel bound him.
Yeah.
Verse 4. And after that, they were both shut in together. Tobias rose out of the bed and said, "Sister, arise, and let us pray that the Most High would have pity on us."
So you see that? So they actually prayed to help bless their marriage as well too. Nowadays, everybody been to a wedding before. See the man and the husband, they stand in the front. The guy with a long robe, or just a pastor, or a woman pastor, man pastor, and they actually bless the marriage. When in actuality, the parents are supposed to bless the marriage. And after that, after the ceremony, everybody has fun. Then the husband and wife then bless their marriage as well too, together in prayer. See that? Go ahead.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
Then began Tobias to say, "Blessed art thou, O God of our fathers, and blessed is thy holy and glorious name forever. Let the heavens bless thee, and all thy creatures."
So they're both in prayer together. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve for his wife.
So you see that? You can see that Tobias is keeping the order on how marriage was instituted. He referred back to the first marriage. You see that? Go ahead.
Thou madest Adam and gave him Eve his wife for an helper and
For
stay.
a helper and a stay. See that? Go ahead.
Of them came mankind. Thou hast said, "It is not good that man should be alone. Let us make unto him an aid like unto himself." And now, O Lord, I take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly.
So you see that? So he wasn't just getting married because he was lustful. He was getting married to fulfill what the Most High commanded. To do it correctly, right? Go ahead.
Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together.
You see that? He's asking the Most High to help their marriage. Please ordain our marriage. And some people say that, you can't be with this person because God didn't send that person to you. No, you choose your mate and you ask the Most High to help you in that marriage. See, asking the Most High to ordain that marriage. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And she said with him, Amen.
You see that? And then once he finished praying, they both said, "So be it." So they was both in agreement. So that's what a marriage is. They both came together. The parents agreed. They agreed. That's a marriage. You see that? Jump to chapter 9, and that's it on this. We'll read chapter 9, and that's it on the book of Tobit. Just to show you how the marriages was instituted, right?
Chapter 9, verse 1.
Yeah.
Then Tobias called Raphael and said unto him, Brother Azarias, take with thee a servant and 2 camels, and go to the rages of Media to Gabiel, and bring me the money, and bring him to the wedding. Verse 3. For Raguel has sworn that I shall not depart, but my father counteth the days, and if I tarry long, he'll be very sorry. Verse 5. So Raphael went out and lodged with Gabiel, and gave him the handwriting, who brought forth bags which were sealed up and gave them to him. Verse 6. And early in the morning they went forth, both together, and came to the wedding, and Tobias blessed his wife.
And came to the wedding, and Tobias blessed his wife. I forgot to read this part in chapter 8, verse 18. It says, Then Raguel bade the servants to fill the grave, because they thought that he was going to die, but the Most High prevented that. And he says in verse 19, and he kept the wedding feast 14 days. For before the days of the marriage were finished, Raguel had said unto him by an oath that he should not depart till the 14 days of the marriage were expired. So back then, when they was getting married, it wasn't a one-day thing, depending on how the father wanted to do it. The father wanted to celebrate for 14 days. That he's finally been able to, give away his wife. Give away his daughter to a man, right? So that's how our people was doing it back then, right? So now I want to touch on the issue of divorce, right? We're almost done. I want to talk about the issue of divorce, and then after that, I want to talk about the issue of multiple wives, right? So now let's talk about the issue of divorce real quick, right? We see how it was instituted, man and woman, right? Man and woman, one wife, one man, that's it, right? And we seen that Tobit, what was Tobit's prayer? Tobias said what? He prayed to the Most High that he would ordain their marriage and that they would grow all together. So meaning he wasn't looking for nobody else, right? In this day and age, they tell you like, all you got to do is go get a divorce. Just sign some papers. Just get rid of that person. That's not the way it was instituted. That's not the way it was. Let's go to the words of Christ. Matthew 5:31. Right? Matthew 5:31, guys.
St. Matthew chapter 5, verse 31. It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement.
So this what was, we're going to actually read the law where this came from. So Christ said it was written before that what? If you want to get rid of somebody or want to get rid of your husband or want to get rid of your wife, let him do what?
Let him give her a writing of divorcement.
Let him give him a writing of divorcement. You sign the divorce papers and get it over with. That's how it was done in the past. But there was a reason why that was done. Right? Go ahead.
32. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery.
You see that? So the only way divorce is permitted in our culture is only if it's because of fornication or adultery. You step outside of your marriage. You can't just get divorced for any other for just any cause, right? What verse was that?
32 in the middle.
Go ahead.
And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery.
So if someone is divorced for whatever reason, and it was not because of fornication and somebody else deals with that person, they are actually committing adultery, because that marriage is still supposed to be intact unless it was, broken up through fornication, basically. You guys understand that? Go to Matthew 19. So now when Christ said this, right? You already know the Pharisees already heard him saying this, because they was following the letter of the law. They were following what Moses instituted in the law. They upheld Moses like he was the Most High, like he was second to the Most High. Now understanding that the Most High will send Christ to reprove everything that was in the law, right? So now, when Christ made this statement, you, like I said, you best believe that the Pharisees and the Sadducees would try to test these words, because like, what do you mean we can't get divorced? It's written in the law. So this guy's against it. So they're just trying to make it seem like, so Christ is against the law? So now let's see what happened here. Matthew 19 and 1, right?
Matthew 19 and verse 1. And it came to pass that when Yeshua had finished these sayings, he departed from Galilee and came into the coast of Judea beyond Jordan.
Yeah.
And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. Verse 3. The Pharisees.
So here it is. Christ is, out and about doing this thing, healing people as he usually does, teaching the gospel. Now here come the Pharisees now.
The Pharisees also came unto him.
So now they came trying to see what's going on, right? Go ahead.
Tempting him.
And
saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
So now you see why they're asking that question, because he said it earlier, right? He made the statement earlier. No one is supposed to be dealing with divorce unless it be with fornication. So now here the Pharisees, they heard this and they're like, yo, hold up. We read in the law when Moses instituted divorce. So who is this guy? What is he talking about? Where did he come from with this? Right? So now they're trying to tempt him, trying to figure out whose side are you really on? Right? Go ahead.
Verse 4. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read?
He said, did you guys not read? Go ahead.
That he which made them at the beginning,
he that made them in the beginning,
made them male and female.
And we just read that in Genesis, right? You see that? Go ahead.
And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife.
You see that? So he used what Adam instituted, right? To show them what they were missing, the point that they were missing. What you guys been doing, and the reason why divorce was instituted is because of y'all. Watch, he's going to say it. Go ahead.
And they twain shall be one flesh.
And them twain shall be one flesh. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Wherefore there are no more twain but one flesh.
So now there are no more twain, there are one flesh, meaning they are one, they are a unit. You can't separate something that's one. Go ahead.
What therefore the Most High hath joined together, let not man put asunder.
You see that? What the Most High have joined together, let nobody put asunder. Let no man separate. Even the law, even what Moses wrote in the law. You're gonna see that. Watch. Go ahead.
So, sound like a movie scene. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement to put her away?
So now they wanted to know why. So then why did Moses write in the law we could divorce each other and just write the papers, sign the papers, and send her away? Now let's hear what Christ had to say about that.
He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts.
He said it's because of the hardness of your hearts. What was Christ talking about? Read that again.
Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives.
To put away your wives. Because why? The hardness of their hearts. Meaning they just couldn't get along. What verse was that? 8?
Verse 8.
That was the end of verse 8?
The middle.
Finish it.
But from the beginning, it was not so.
From the beginning, it was not so. So because of the hardness of their hearts and the complaining and the back and forth bickering and fighting, Moses was like, you know what? Since you guys hate each other that much, just sign the divorce papers and just leave me out of this. This is what Moses had to institute. Matter of fact, let's read the law when Moses instituted that. Deuteronomy 24 and 1.
He was there was only one marriage counselor back then.
It was him.
It was only one marriage counselor.
And you could imagine, it was over 800,000 of us in the wilderness. Now imagine all of these people coming to one man with their problems.
He probably have no office. Probably was just standing up too. Man.
You could imagine the little bickering and fighting. Yo, she didn't put up my slippers last night, so what we gonna do about this, Moses? You understand? I've been standing up cooking in front of the stove. He didn't even come rub my feet. Can I get rid of it? Like, it's basic back and forth things. So Christ said, because of the hardness of your hearts, he said, you know what? Just do away with it. Now let's read the law when he said that. Deuteronomy 24 and 1. Read that real quick.
Deuteronomy 24 verse 1.
Yeah.
When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes.
You see that?
because he hath found some uncleanness in her.
So because he had found some uncleanness in her, and that could have been anything. He didn't like the way she chewed her food anymore. He don't like the way she dressed. She, you know, it could have been anything. She's like, you know, he probably found out that she was lazy. Some uncleanness in her. Go ahead.
Then let him write her a bill of divorcement.
He said, now just write her the bill of divorcement. And this is what Moses had to write into the law. Go ahead.
And give it in her hand.
And give her into her hand.
And send her out of his house.
And now you can send her out of your house since you hate her so much, right? Go ahead.
Verse 2.
Yeah.
And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
You see that? And what would that promote? Adultery. You see that? So Christ had to come and clean up the law, not to destroy it. See that? Go ahead.
Verse 3. And if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement.
So now if she get married again and the next husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement.
And giveth it in her hand and sendeth her out of his house. Or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife.
Yeah.
Her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife.
So basically, if she got divorced a second time, she cannot no longer go and be her first husband's wife again because it's unclean. Right? So basically, that was the institution of divorce. Like Christ said, because of the hardness of our hearts. But in the beginning, it was not so. So if we want to see how marriage is supposed to be, we're supposed to refer to where? To the beginning, on how it was done. If any marriage you see is not done, is not instituted the way it was instituted in marriage, it's not a marriage. Right? As far as man and wife and, you know, coming together in agreement. I'm talking about that. Okay? Now let's go to Leviticus 20. Matter of fact, go back to Matthew 19 and read verse 9. We didn't finish verse 9. Listen to this now. So that was the law that was instituted under Moses because of the hardness of their hearts. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Yeah.
Say Matthew 19 and 9.
Yeah.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery.
Committeth adultery. You see that? So now he had to fix what was instituted under Moses because of the hardness of their hearts. So he said, if one is divorced and go and marry another now, lest it be for fornication, now you letting that person commit fornication now or adultery. Because why? You're still tied to that person. You can't just divorce somebody because you're upset or you just don't like the way they doing things. That's not how it works. Right? That was verse 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
in the
now,
middle.
Go ahead.
And whoso marrieth her, which is put away,
and whoso marrieth her who is put away,
doeth commit adultery.
Doeth committeth adultery. So Christ was coming to correct all of the things that was happening because we failed to keep the ordinances of the law of marriage. Right? Leviticus 20. Real quick. Leviticus 20 and 10.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 10.
Yeah.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
So you see, this was in the law. And this was actually happening because why? They weren't regarding the sacredness of marriage. They weren't regarding that once you're married to that person, you can't just put that person away because you're going to lead them to do what? Commit adultery. And yourself commit adultery. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And the man that lieth with his father's wife hath uncovered his father's nakedness.
So you see, and this is going into other miscellaneous laws concerning marriage or intercourse, right? So that wasn't permitted amongst our people. A son dealing with his father's wife. we know which son was guilty of this, right? Reuben. Yeah. Go ahead.
Verse 11. In the middle of verse 11. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
Jump down to verse 18.
Verse 18. And if a man shall lie with the woman having her sickness.
Oh, no. Jump up to verse 13. Sorry.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman.
And you see the Most High saying it again. If a man lie with another man, like as if he's laying with a woman, go ahead.
Both of them have committed an abomination.
Both of them have committed an abomination. Go ahead.
They shall surely be put to death.
You see that? So that was another law that he had to continue to institute. Because these are the things that, and you got to understand the reason why the Most High was giving these laws, because these are the things that our people seen where? In Egypt. Mm-hmm. These are the things that the Egyptians were doing. Everything that the Most High was saying, and there's even laws where the Most High says, do not as you've seen done in Egypt. Don't follow the ways of the Egyptians. So these are the things that the Egyptians were doing. They were abominable. So the Most High had to come in and clean that. So you see that again, the Most High had to show the proper steps of marriage, right? Now, the multiple wives. After this, and we're just gonna touch on this, and then we're gonna call it a night, right? Mm-hmm. The multiple wives, right? We have some brothers who feel like they can have more than one wife, right? In the scriptures, there was certain instances where brothers did have multiple wives. For example, our father Jacob. And first we'll start with our father Abraham, right? Abraham had different wives, right? He had one extra wife, which was Hagar. But he had two after Sarah was dead. But I'm talking about when Sarah was alive. He had Hagar, the Egyptian, right? So brothers would use scenarios like that and say, you see, Abraham had two wives. Then they'll use Jacob and be like, well, Jacob had 4 wives. So you telling me I can only have one? But they're not really looking at the reasoning behind them having more than one wife. First of all, it wasn't by choice. Put that out there. They didn't choose and go out there and be like, you know what? I want me another wife. It was their wives who was giving them the extra wife. Because why? They understood that the promise to bring forth the nation was supposed to come through the women having children, but because they couldn't produce, so they had to bring in other women to bring forth the nation. That's how that happened. But now let's actually go into the law concerning multiple wives and how was it done and what was actually supposed to be done. And is it actually even supposed to be a law within our culture? Right? Go to Exodus 21, verse 10. Right? So after the end of these scriptures, we'll see if multiple wives or multiple husbands is supposed to be something that we need to be following. Exodus 21, verse 10.
The book of Exodus 21, verse 10.
Yeah.
If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
So it says, if he take him another wife, her what?
Her food, raiment, and duty of marriage shall not diminish.
So they will use this scripture and say, you see that you can have multiple wives. You can have another wife, but you just gotta make sure that her food is still the same. You know, she got clothes, she got a house to live in. But what is the context of what was going on here? To find out what is being spoken of, let's jump up to verse 1, right? Just to get the clarity. Listen to this.
Verse 1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
So now this is the laws concerning indentured servitude. when somebody sells themselves to be a servant. So this is what you have to understand. Read that again.
Verse 2. If thou buy an Hebrew servant,
If you buy a Hebrew servant,
6 years he shall serve,
okay, go ahead.
and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
And who also did this? Our father Jacob. When he went to his uncle's house, Laban, for who? Rachel. And he served an additional 7 years because why? He tricked them, right? So now you can see that he was selling himself as a servant, right? So this is the law concerning it. Got it? Go ahead.
Verse 3. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by
If
himself.
he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. Go ahead.
If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him.
You see that? So if he came with his wife and he sold himself to be married, right? His wife shall leave with him after the 6 years. But go ahead.
If his master hath given him a wife,
See, now if he came by himself and his master gave him a wife now let's read what happens there.
and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's.
You see that? So whatever he obtains or whatever he have, whatever his children, that belongs to the master now. Right? The person that he sold himself to. Go ahead.
And he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my
So
children,
now he don't want to leave by himself. He want to take his wife and his children with him. Right? What are he supposed to do?
I will not go out for free. Then his master shall bring him into the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the door post, and his master shall bore his ear through within all, and he shall serve him forever.
So he'll put an earring in his ear, and that will show that he is his servant forever. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 7. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant,
So now if he sell his daughter to be a maidservant now,
she shall not go out as the men servants do.
so now she's not, so the rule is she's not supposed to do the same type of work that the man servants do. Go ahead.
Verse 8. If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed, to sell her unto a strange nation. He shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her.
So he shouldn't do that. Sell her to a strange nation. We was not selling ourselves to the different nations. We was only selling ourselves to each other just for work for a time, so we could be able to feed ourselves. That's how he was doing it. So it's basically like he was signing a contract for a job, but that job was for 6 years, basically. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And if he hath betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters.
So you see that? So now if the servant sells his daughter to the master, and the master gives his daughter he gives the servant's daughter to his own son, his son will do what?
He shall deal with her after the manner of daughters.
He shall deal with her after the manner of daughters, meaning the same customs apply when it comes to marriage. See that? Even though she was a maid, she's a maid servant, she's still supposed to treat her as the daughters of Zion supposed to be treated, with respect, speaking to her father, doing the customs, the dowry exchange. That still happens with the servants. Go ahead.
Verse 10.
Now listen to this.
If he take him another wife,
So now if the son of that master wants to take another wife now, he's supposed to do what?
her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
So that was the stipulations under when somebody could take another wife. If that wife that was given to him was bought with money, was a maid servant. You guys understand that? And if he took on another wife, the second wife should not diminish anything that the first wife have. So if she has clean clothes, the second wife have clean. If she has a house, that one has a house too. If that one eats, this one must eat too. But that was only the law for the servants, not for the whole general population. Right? How do we know that? What verse was that?
That was 10.
All right, go ahead.
Verse 11. And if he do not these three unto her,
And if he does not these three unto her,
then she shall go out free
she shall
without
go
money.
free. So if these things, if he's not providing what she needs, the second wife, then the first wife and the second wife can go free, right? Or the second wife could go free. 1 Timothy 3:1, and we're gonna end it there. Let's see what the New Testament speaks about multiple wives.
First Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This is a true saying.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop,
Yeah.
he desireth a good work.
So anybody who desires the office of a bishop or overseer or wants to be the head of a congregation, he's supposed to be what?
Verse 2, a bishop then must be blameless.
He must be blameless. Go ahead.
The husband of one wife.
The what?
The husband of one wife.
The husband of one wife. So the New Testament teaches that one wife doctrine from the beginning, right? Jump down to verse, that was verse 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can finish it off. The husband of one wife.
Vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, and apt to teach.
Now jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Let the deacons be the husbands of one wife.
Of what?
Let the deacons be the husbands of one wife. Ruling their children and their own houses well.
You see that? So the New Testament speaks about anybody in leadership position only supposed to have one wife, right? That multiple wife doctrine, that's out the window. Unless somebody sells you their daughter and they sell themselves to you as a servant, then you're not supposed to have more than one wife. But that's the understanding concerning marriage. Going into the law. I know going into law is usually long and drawn out, but we got to go into these things and we got to learn the law, right? Khan. And if we don't continue to go into this law and learn the law, we're going to continue to fall like how our forefathers fell. So that's why it's important that, we do it. I mean, it would be good if we could go into the law more than once a month, but I mean, probably hopefully in the future we could implement something where we go into it more often. Khan? So we'll go to the comment section real quick. And we'll just call it a night. How's everybody in the room doing? Everybody look hungry.
Nah. Great lesson.
Well, we got some refreshments in the back, so we're gonna be able to break bread soon, and I'll go through some announcements after real quick.
We just want to give all praises again to the Most High Ahaya. We want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Body of Christ Kingdom with the real version of marriage and the very first Dr. Phil, if you will, of marriage and our Savior. So Queen Judah, Shabbat Shalom. Israel J, Shabbat Shalom. Yapa Judah. Iswak Wo Michael, Shabbat Shalom. Praise the Most High, the Creator of heaven and the earth, for His mercy to awaken and gathering as one holy Sabbath, a countdown of time. Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Linzel Lot. Aman. He typed in Aman while we was reading.
Oh, I guess it was reading the scriptures. All praises.
Queen Judah, she was laughing at the little baby, saying, Aman.
Gotta train them up.
Yeah.
In the way they should go.
Queen Judah, she says fornication is a real big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it really is. This is why we gotta go into the law so we can understand and and move accordingly these last days, because we here.
I feel like
we gotta get it right.
That's one of the devil's rare candies. Like you see someone doing, he just throw a little piece of candy in front of him, like, yeah, got him. But Isaac, he says, we're living in a wicked world, teaching and promoting wickedness.
God.
Kwame Rhodes, Shabbat Shalom, brother. Yes.
Shabbat Shalom.
He says, yes, all praises to the Most High.
Brother Kwame, Shabbat Shalom.
He comes back, he says, where does the ring come from? Is that a form of dowry?
Well, I would say yes. A lot of people don't like the ring because a lot of people say it stems from a pagan origin. But my thing is like, you know, back then the way they did it was they would put a nose ring on the sister's nose to prove that she's married. Now this day and age, we give the ring. So, I mean, if I like, what if I just took off my ring and I had it on this finger, but I'm saying I'm married? Would anybody still say it was pagan? You understand? Like,
well, I read that we were in Egypt and doing these things, and we were following the Egyptians, and the Egyptians believed the vein running through your ring finger is connected from your heart to your ring finger. So that's what the Egyptians believe, and they had it. We followed them, and that's why we put it on this finger. What's this? This is the ring finger, right?
The ring finger, yeah.
I'm about to say index finger.
Well, to me, it's just a piece of jewelry. So
yeah,
if people look into jewelry and trying to make a cost of jewelry, then so be it. I mean, I'll wear it.
I mean, don't get us wrong. It looks nice.
Exactly.
It is a good look. It's not funny. Brothers get respected by police when you have a ring on your finger. They look at you completely different.
Yeah, when you walk into an establishment, they know you're dealing with
respected.
a serious.
Yeah, you get respected.
I mean, hey, pretty soon all of our jewelry is gonna have to be used anyways to sell to get to one place or another. So
anyway, yeah.
But yeah.
Melanin Rich, Shabbat Shalom, brother. He says Shabbat Shalom, family. Vanessa, she says, was there a typical age people got married?
Well, I would say the age of accountability. I know, I know back then, it was younger than what we expect right now, younger. But the exact age, I can't give you that number. I know for the men, it took them a while to get married. I know when you read, I believe it's not in the Book of Jubilees that Jacob didn't get married until his late 30s. Jacob didn't get married until his late 30s because he actually says his age when his mother was trying to send him to get a wife, or right before he got the blessing, he was like in his late 30s. So yeah.
Yeah. So
you read that in the Book of Jubilees, huh?
That's it for the comments for now.
You got some? Yeah. On.
First, checking some. If you're a nation of Christ,
it's true, right?
all of those. So the nation of
one wife, right?
Judgment. Say the laws. Like,
right. Exactly. It was a completely different. Right.
In his mind, dealing with one-on-one.
Right.
He was
oh yeah. Yeah.
Thing is not to know God.
Exactly.
So you can agree
and that's right. And that's another thing I want to mention too, because we all know what's pagan. Worshiping on Sunday is pagan because that's a God. Exactly. Right. Celebrating Christmas is pagan because that's to a God. What else? I mean, we know what's pagan. This ring, I didn't put when me and my wife decided to get married. I didn't put this ring in honor of Zeus. Or you understand? I didn't put this ring on in the honor of a different God. So our thoughts were pure when we did that. So because I'm an Israelite and I understand that we're Israelite, I'm not gonna wear a ring. It's jewelry. You understand? It's a piece of jewelry. So you know, there is a saying where you can be overly righteous to a fault, and the scriptures also says where there is no law, there is no sin. So that's how I could, say that to people out there who want to make an issue over something. Not to say, Brother Kwame, you did that, but I know you're just asking for edification's sake. But there's people out there who had made comments back then on our Instagram page, like, you brothers got on wedding bands. Like, Come on, man.
Somebody said that?
Yeah, it's like out of all the things that you heard of, say you only could see the wedding band, but yeah. Oh yeah! Wow! Look at that. So look, their eye was totally evil, and they looked past what I said. And but hey, you can't change the world, man. You can't save everybody. All praise to the Most High. Somebody else? Real quick. Go ahead.
Great lesson.
Deuteronomy 17. You can read. You can read it.
No.
Go ahead.
But I just wanted to throw it in because it's interesting that you see that brothers do. They were using that Solomon.
Yeah.
How King Solomon had Deuteronomy 17. The Most High made a law and says, "I set."
Not to it. Yeah, I read that earlier today too. I was gonna put that in a lesson, but I didn't. But that's right on. Not just King Solomon, even David, but even tell you like when you even actually read the extra books, like the fragment of the Zadokite works. David and them was not reading out of the law because it was hidden from Israel around that time. The Ark of the Covenant was hidden, but that's brothers won't even understand it because they don't even go into those books. But that was a great point. It was commanded that we were not supposed to even do that. Even our kings was not supposed to do that, but they wasn't reading out the law. But all praises. God.
So it was their turn to do it, right? Marriage?
Yeah.
And that's
The tokens of virginity.
right.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah. Right. You can't share that with just any. Yeah.
but also like when
Yeah. Exactly. I understand how some brothers is
over
doing.
your head.
Just one is a handful.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. If you can't take care of the second one, she according to that judgment, she could leave. Exactly. All praise to the Most High. Definitely. Real quick, next week is the feast of change of season, but we're also having a baptism next week too, right? Next week Saturday. So we gotta meet real early, so that way we could get the baptism done and then celebrate the feast after. So I guess I'll talk to the sisters after, as far as preparation goes, and yeah. So next week. I'm gonna try to keep the Sabbath rules short, so that way we could all get home in enough time and we could get some sleep. So if those who's coming, especially just the people who's getting baptized, y'all definitely got to be there. But those who want to just come and watch and spectate, if you're not there, we leaving. Like, okay. so I'm not gonna try to keep the Sabbath too long next week, so that way we could do that. Gonna be a beautiful time. Brothers and sisters coming into the truth, getting their garments washed. All praises to the Most High. So,
Audio, going in and out.
Audio,
yeah.
The audio's going. Hold on. How it sound now, guys? Is the audio better? Let's go to the comment section.
Just a few new comments. Yeah.
All right, and after that, I guess we'll bid everybody Godspeed. And
okay, we have a comment from Bond Lawyer. Shabbat Shalom, brother. He says Shabbat Shalom,
Officer Lawyer
Akim from GOCC, Florida. Blessings.
No, that's not Officer Lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blessings, all praises to Ahaya Bahashem Yeshaya while we rock for this lesson. We really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so
definitely.
much, brother.
All praise to the Most High. We here every Sabbath, every Friday night. All praise to the Most High.
Isaac Will Michael says, great lesson as always. Kwame comes back. He says he was just wondering if it was our practice. That's all.
Oh yeah. I mean, I believe that's something that we picked up along the way, but there's no harm in it. So
yeah, he says he's always seen the child as the ring. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
That's like the completion.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Never looked at it that way.
And that rounds up the comment section.
Definitely. Well, definitely. Thank you for putting out that too. Sexual intercourse is not considered marriage if it's the proper steps. It's not followed, and you haven't received the blessings from the Father and all that. What you're doing is fornication. So, but yeah. Got anything else? Anything you want to add before we wrap it up? No.
If you want to get fellowship with us if you just wanted to come hang, fellowship with the brethren, we located. You can send us an email. We'll send you our location. Our Instagram, our social media feed, IG is in the link description below. The GoFundMe page also. If you want to donate, we appreciate your donations in advance. And like, comment, subscribe. If you know somebody that think they know everything about marriage, send them a link to this video so they can see. Probably might learn something. And if they don't get anything from it, agree with them anyway, and they still will watch it just because you agreed with them. And with that being said, like he always says, you could have been anywhere tonight with us. You could have been getting turned, but you're getting turned with us on the Sabbath.
All praises.
And
keep up the good fight.
Keep the good fight.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
So with that being said,
Shalom and all praise to the Most High. Everybody have a great Sabbath. Enjoy the rest of your Sabbath, online family. Try to be productive. Keep it holy. Right? Don't do anything that you would do during the week on the Shabbat. This is for the Most High. Try to spend it with your family in the Word. Doing good for others. Yes, it is permitted to do good on the Sabbath. Do well on the Sabbath. So we'll be here, if it be the Most High's will, next week. Same time. Right? And we bid you all Godspeed and say Kwame Asharala.
Kwame Asharala.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.